Hi, and welcome to Lesson 9 for SimVenture Evolution, which is all about promotions. So in this particular module, you'll be reviewing the company's promotional strategy, resources, particularly budgets, and any return on investment that you get from any of your promotions. You will be reviewing the current promotional strategy of the company using the learning activity for promotions. When you finish the case study, I want you to write up your reflections in the journal, or in your own journal, that is, and make sure that you've done this every week because you need to have it as an appendix in your final assessment. Okay, let's crack on. So in the previous module, we covered setting the selling points and pricing in line with your product design, brackets in the branding. You have chosen a primary segment for your product, but if you've got more than one product, it is highly likely that are primary targets. And you will have completed your weekly journal, and so that, as I said before, you can load that into. So the skills we have developed and will develop today are problem solving, a positive attitude, self-management, team working, and it was great to see in class that other groups were helping other groups with the so I'm pleased to see that. Lots of business and customer awareness, and we have quite a wide range there. So if we move on to the next slide, the process to get to market. I put together this process to market to help you get the best out of running your virtual business. We've given you a structure to work through called the process to market because it identifies the steps generally a business would take. So if you want to, you can follow this model to get the business moving along, and I highly recommend that you actually use it. For those of you who don't like to work in a structured way, please feel free to ignore me and run the business as you'd like. But this process does work and could be a great starting point for you. So the basic process to get to market is to start with research. And if you're in any doubt throughout the process of this module, research is key for people, the marketplace, and your customer, and everything else. In particular, you want to be looking at market research reports, but market research is up to date and not your year one. So today we're going to look at company proposals. So as we have and analyze all the market research reports. If there are no reports, you'll need to order them in the simulation, especially if they're outdated. So as we go through the promotional activity, you need to be keeping an eye on what your competition are doing, what your customers are giving you feedback on in terms of focus group, who your customers are, what segment that you're attracting. So here you need to think about what we've talked before in terms of segmentation, targeting, positioning, and look at a competitor positioning map to see where you are. That informs your product design, your promotions, and your sales channels, which we're going to come on to next time. Do make sure that you read the scenario briefing and research reports. They give you far more information than the overview on the front screens of the simulation. What you need to do as marketers is use the market intelligence to inform your decision making. So by now, you will be continuing to produce Street Smart. You might have enhanced it. You might have done a copycat product of one of your competitors' products, or you might have created a completely new design. And to do that, you would have had to create some selling points in line with your product design, set your product design ready for production, to go on to that in a second, sell, make some bikes, research or a focus, receive feedback on product, and you can identify segments and graphics quarter. How will you identify promotions to attract customer attention? Competitors because they're in year 5, Cameron cycles decide to try and steal your market share. Do have a look at the demographics of your customers and potential customers in other segments and break those down. So from this point on, many of you will be gaining traction in the market, and the challenge now is to manage cash flow, to expand your sales, to begin to turn a regular profit. Oh, I do know some people have already trashed the business, which is hilarious. So we're going to have a look at marketing budgets, because most marketing departments will have a finance department who control the amount of money that you can actually spend. So we're going to log into the simulation a little bit later to work out how much the company is spending on sales and marketing. And therefore, we need to then consider, is this amount in line with industry guidelines or your own research? Below this slide is the URL to www.creative.on, and it talks about what a good marketing budget might look like. And so in class, as always, how much should I have? And the answer is, how long is a piece of string? Everybody's different, but your marketing budget should cover all costs needed to market your product and to make a website. So look at how to set a budget. There are numerous ways that you can set a budget. I've just come up with 7. So what I do in my business is I use the 5% rule. So there is a general rule of thumb in the marketing world that you should aim at spending between 2 and 5% of your sales revenue on marketing. So it could be 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%. So later on, we'll then have a look at what you're spending now and think, is it in line with what I want to be spending? Certainly for a young business like this at year 3, it's highly likely there will be some control on marketing, and free is a great word for entrepreneurs and small businesses. Secondly, you need to consider the market budgets by industry. It varies a lot by industry. So consider what competitors might be spending. Underneath this slide are a lot of notes in terms of URLs that you can go and do some more work on. It may be also that you want to answer one of the questions in the assessment, which is to do with the key marketing decisions. And this could be around budgets, and you can all write about completely different things to make. So the third way to set a marketing budget is to consider marketing expenses by industry. Depending on your type of business, you should distribute your marketing budget according to necessary expenses. So, for example, if you have more than one product in production, you're going to have to spread those costs across the marketing budget, and I'll tell you why shortly. Fourthly, you need to look at research marketing budget data to establish some benchmarks, cite them in your report, and give me good reasons why you've chosen, if this is what you're going to write about, this promotional budget activity. So number 5 is to consider your marketing budget return on investment. Most organizations, and all the ones I've ever worked for, want a return on investment, otherwise known as. It's important to calculate what sales you might earn from marketing spend. Number 6 is pay special attention to mobile marketing. It would be a mistake to underestimate the importance of mobile marketing and social media marketing, but that depends on your target market and your segment and your position in terms of whether they like to be sold to via social media channels and marketing. And finally, number 7 is decide on your marketing channels. What you need to do is identify channels that are most suitable for your business model, your USP, aka unique selling points, and your niche. Again, there's a URL under this slide to help you work through that. So At this point in time, what I need you to do is just stop the video for a while and look at the notes underneath this slide, which is a case study on promotions. What I need you to do is complete the case study with your team, preferably, and make sure that any decisions you make are informed by the market, the segment, the customer, and demographic reports in the simulation. And remember to consider the appropriateness of the media used to reach the target market, and you have all that information in the market research section. How effective is that media? What budget is needed? The impact on promotions if you change your strategy, the return on investment, the impact on sales, the impact on production, and overall efficiencies. So your task, should you choose to accept it, is to analyse and evaluate the current promotional activity using a SWOT on promotions specifically, and analyse that if the business continued with their current strategy for the next 2 quarters, would that be the same strategy, or would you need to change it depending on the decisions that you're making? So what do you think the outcome might be if you stay the same? Would you recommend any changes? If so, what are your recommendations? Then I want you to implement those changes in the simulation and reflect on the outcome of those changes. Don't forget also that you can rewind if you don't like the outcome and try again. So we know there are various different sub-marketing strategies that you could follow. For the purposes of the simulation, we are going to engage an umbrella marketing strategy. So what is it? It's umbrella positioning is about a brand bringing all the different products that it offers under the same brand. So in the real world, potentially, and an alternative strategy would be that for each product, it has its own brand and it has its own marketing and promotional strategy. What the umbrella strategy tends to do, it brings uniformity in the marketing of the brand, and the customer develops more trust in the brand in this way, because you're literally promoting the brand and then the products are secondary to that. So if we look at the umbrella strategy for IKEA, this family branding allows companies to focus its resources and energy on the promotion of one single brand, rather than investing in different marketing campaigns for different products. Underneath this slide are a number of notes that you can have a look at. So the underlying idea behind this brand strategy of umbrella marketing is to enhance the popularity of products. And it follows that the psychological concept that whenever a product carries the same brand name, it will involve the same high quality standards like other brands within the umbrella. So brands can also have 5 different product lines. However, the trust in that particular brand leverages the attributes of all 5 product lines. So what is umbrella branding? It's referred to as a marketing practice which involves several related products under the name of the single brand. I can't emphasize that enough. It's also known as family branding and involves creating a good brand equity for a single brand. Practically, it can be quite challenging as a marketing practice, as you'll be required to coordinate effectively within every individual brand. However, when the marketing practice is implemented well, the results can reap great advantages and cost savings in addition to everything else. There are advantages and disadvantages of umbrella branding. Some of the advantages are, as all products within the umbrella are interdependent upon each other's success, the one product will give boost to the other products as well. So no one product is actually left behind. Umbrella brands have a pre-established reputation in the market, and consumers are well aware of the brand and they can guarantee for the high quality. This renders the process of launching a new product for the organization easier and can reap benefits because of previous marketing efforts. In this way, products can make an inexpensive entry in the market or into new markets. family branding also allows companies to focus its resources and energy on the promotion of a single brand rather than investing in different marketing campaigns for different products. But that will depend on the individual organization. So some of the disadvantages of umbrella branding: any organization, whether big or small, is unable to provide similar quality to all of its products. This creates chances of quality fluctuation. An organization which focuses on one product may sometimes neglect other products. So umbrella branding is useful for those products which involve some logical connection with each other. For example, Starbucks started promoting snacks that are coffee or beverage related. This will be accepted as the products are interrelated. However, if Starbucks plans to promote tablets, laptops, or desktops, consumers will be unable to relate with the product as they perceive Starbucks to be in the coffee-related industry. The major drawback of umbrella branding is that if a single product has a poor reputation, it will impact other products that are within the same brand. This can result in the reduction of purchase of the brand. So, apart from what I've just talked about now, we had a look at this in class. Can you find any other advantages or disadvantages of umbrella marketing strategy for your company? Again, maybe something that you would wish to write about, because one of the questions is related to a key marketing decision. It may be that you want to talk about umbrella strategies and how that works within the simulation. So let's have a look at the simulation itself. Uses the umbrella marketing strategy, very similar to the strategy that Heinz uses, which is also an umbrella strategy. To give you some more context, there is a campaign article link in the notes below, so you can go and have a look at that and compare and contrast a very big old brand, established brand, to compare it to SimVenture Evolution. So on this slide for promotional strategies, the blue link at the top left-hand page will take you to a URL to a LinkedIn article about promotional strategies. So if we have a look at those promotional strategies, they are an integral part of any successful marketing plan. These strategies are designed to increase brand awareness, attract and retain customers, and ultimately the whole purpose of marketing is to drive sales. However, with so many different types of promotional strategies to choose from, it can be overwhelming for business owners to determine which will work best for their company. And certainly for mine, it's very much a trial and error. And as things change in the marketplace, we have to be adaptable and flexible as well to use new ways of promoting to our clients. So in the article that I've given you from LinkedIn, it explores the different types of promotional strategies, how to create an effective promotional mix, methods for measuring success, mistakes to avoid, and innovative promotional ideas to help business stay ahead of the competition. But you'll see over here that the biggest thing to be considering is your segment that you're selling to, or segments, your target market, and how they like to be promoted to. So for this exercise, you probably also need to go back to some of the market research reports and have a look at segments. How do they like to be sold to? How are they currently being promoted to? And would you make any changes to that? It may be by now that you have several segments. It may be that you still have the one, but you need to go back to that information and make sure that if you do a quick promotional mix SWOT analysis in terms of your promotions, and I know some of you have already, coming out of that you could change. So what are promotional strategies in marketing? Promotional strategies are the activities that businesses use to communicate with their target audience, promote their brand, and increase sales. Many of you will be familiar with previous studies of the AIDA model, awareness, interest, desire, and action. These activities can be both online, offline, and they can include advertising, sales promotion, public relations, personal selling, direct marketing, and a whole load more. Okay, so the goal of promotional strategies is to raise awareness of a product or service, generate interest, and ultimately drive sales. So why are promotional strategies important? They are essential for any organization. If you want to succeed in today's business world, you have to promote yourself. Free is great, but we also have to pay for it as well. And by using various promotional strategies like advertising, sales promotions, public relations, businesses can reach a wider audience, build brand recognition, and increase sales. The thing is here, it has to be focused and it has to be continuous. Otherwise, some brands have fallen by the wayside and stopped marketing themselves. So if you find yourself, for example, trying to sell too many products, we could switch off the marketing for a quarter, but not any longer than that, because people will forget who they are and where they are, what products they're actually selling. So effective promotional strategies can help businesses establish themselves as industry leaders, attract new customers, and maintain a loyal customer base. And again, in the notes underneath this slide, you will see a LinkedIn post about promotional strategies, which you should now stop this recording and go and have a look at. So we've talked a lot lately about the models and concepts called segmentation, targeting, and positioning. But you have to understand your target audience. Before you begin to develop a promotional strategy or change it, you need to understand your target audience. Understanding them will help you create targeted and effective promotional campaigns that resonate with customers. And again, underneath this slide, it's the same URL to the LinkedIn post that I said about before. And if you have a look at figure 17.4 from our set book, there are various steps to developing effective communication. Identify your target audience and understand them. What are you trying to do in terms of your promotional activity with them? Design your comms. So you need to look at specific channels. You need to establish your budget. You need to decide on the media mix. So for example, how does your target market like to be promoted to, or how do they access that? So you'll need to go back into the simulation and rerun or relook at how your target market actually accesses promotional activity from you, which leads to sales. How you measure results can be wide-ranging. This is not the module to be discussing that in any great detail, but you should certainly expect sales to be increasing as a result of your marketing activity. And then how do you manage your IMC, your integrated marketing communications? And for this section, you might look at Kotler et al.'s book called Marketing Management. I've used the third edition, and it's in chapter 17. So it's Kotler part 5, which is called Communicating Value, chapter 17 in Kotler et al., 2016. Right, again, notes under this slide refers to insights.com on digital marketing and customer segmentation. And again, you kind of need to be really aware that we've covered this before. In terms of market segmentation, this is the process of dividing your target market into smaller groups based on similar characteristics. So, in the bike market, you've got different types of buyers, you've got different types of segments. Who are you selling to? Because each of these smaller groups have similar characteristics or behaviors, purchase behavior. And by dividing your audience into segments, you can create targeted campaigns that resonate with each group. There's a caveat here that because we are engaging an umbrella marketing strategy, you're going to have to spread your promotional activity. If you have more than one segment and more than one target, you're going to have to spread the budget over all of them rather than do separate product and segment promotional activity. So a little example might be a company selling baby products may segment its audience into new parents, grandparents, and childcare professionals. So you have 5 or 6 of them within the simulation that you can go back and have a look at them in terms of who your segments are that you're selling to. And remember that if you're selling to more than one, you'll have to spread your promotional activity. So then we talked about market targeting to those groups. I've talked about that before. And review your product positioning. So you need to look at where you are versus your competitors, and also how the marketing mix works across those different segments and targets as well. So again, underneath the slide is a link to linkedin.com for promotional strategies. You as a team need to find an effective promotional mix, which involves the right balance of promotional strategies to reach your target audience and achieve your marketing goals. So think umbrella, think segments, think targeting, think positioning, and then what type of promotional strategies are you going to pursue? Is it, a wide-ranging umbrella advertising campaign? Is it sales promotion? Is it sales channels visits? Is it public relations? Is it personal selling? Is it direct marketing? Is it social media? Is it interacting with export distributors? There's such a lot of different promotional strategies, but you have to choose the ones, probably more than one, where your sales are coming in. So you might want to review where your sales are coming from in the simulation and perhaps focus your promotional strategies there. So factors to consider in the promotional mix. So when you're creating a promotional mix, businesses should consider their target audience, budget, and marketing objectives. This is something that you might want to talk about in your key marketing decision answer. A strong understanding of your audience is really, really key, because it can help you choose the most effective promotional strategy for your business. Setting a budget for your promotional activities is also essential. So if we refer back to various different slides, we'll go into the simulation shortly, because you have to have the necessary time, cost, and resources to execute those promotional campaigns. Consider the costs of each promotional strategy rather, and allocate your budget accordingly. So the creative and design elements, we can't do very much work with in the simulation, but you need to consider, as you well know as marketers, that the design elements such as visuals, copy, logo, and messaging align with your brand and resonates with your target audience. So in conclusion, for this particular section, promotional strategies are essential for any business looking to increase awareness, attract new customers, and increase sales. Through understanding your target audience, and I keep banging on about this, I know, you need to go back and have a look. To understand your target audience, you need to then utilize the various types of promotional strategies that resonates with your customers. How do they like to be engaged with? How do they access information? And also on the back end of that is how we measure the success of promotional strategies. It's important to see what works and what doesn't. Sometimes for me, it's trial and error. Sometimes I base it on what other people are doing and how they've been successful, and ditch things or increase things depending on what is happening in the marketplace. That allows me in particular to adjust my promotional strategy and allocate my resources, aka budget, across different sectors, and stop doing some things. So your job really is to optimize your promotional efforts in marketing to achieve better results. But there are some common mistakes to avoid in promotional strategies. Some common mistakes to avoid include being inconsistent with your message, misunderstanding of your target audience, and focusing too much on the product instead of the benefits that it offers. So by avoiding these mistakes and staying open to new ideas, you can execute promotional strategies that produce real results. So what I'd like you to do now is have a chat within your team. And if you've done a SWOT on promotional, or if you haven't, do one now. What did the promotional SWOT discover? What changes are recommended for your business? Then I need you to make change in the umbrella strategy and run some quarters. What the outcome? Did sales increase? Did you change some promotional activities? What was the result of that? So you need to have a couple of sessions probably in your own personal space to give that a go and decide whether or not this is an area that you'd like to write about for your reports. Again, don't forget employability skills that you will have developed today. If you've been working as a team, talking about the SWOT for promotions, you're likely to develop team working, promotional strategy awareness, so that's business and customer awareness. You might have done some problem solving in terms of swapping budgets and promotional activity. You might have crunched some numbers in terms of budget, so you'd be doing some numeracy. And you may have developed all of them today, but be thinking every single time you do the simulation, which one of these skills you develop, because we're going to do a reflective piece at the end. And again, don't forget to include your weekly journal in your appendix in your report. So that's it. So the tasks I want you to complete, if you didn't complete them in class, is to do a promotional SWOT, strengths and weaknesses. What are they? Review slides 5 and 6 in this slide deck. Read the marketing budget simulated company. Does the budget fit the 5% rule or not? Who is or are your target segments or segments? How are you targeting them currently with your promotions? How are you positioned in the marketplace versus your competitors? This might change from year to year. Which promotional channels are being used right now? And is there a case for changing the promotion mix and budget and run that through? So today we have covered promotional strategy and your reflective diaries and your CVI skills. What I'm going to do now is get into the simulation and show you a little bit more. So we are in the SimVenture Evolution software, and to get to my space where I am now, I've gone into sales and marketing and promotions. And here we can see the amount of money and the hours that we're spending in the different promotional channels. So what you need to do now is to go back into the market research section here and look at the segments that you're actually selling to and how they like to be promoted to. So do they appreciate web and print advertising, TV and radio, public relations, direct marketing, exhibitions, and social media? So you need to have a look across, specifically if you've got one segment or you're targeting a couple of them, they will like to be promoted to in various different ways. And it may be that you want to change something. What I would like you to do for all of these tabs in all of the software is to read the guidance notes. So what control, and it tells you all these sorts of things. I need to go in and have all these, create demand, key considerations. So here, in particular, are you using the media that's most likely to reach your target audience? Do you know which media have proved effective in the past? So what you need to do is go back for the last 3 years and see what's worked and what hasn't. Can you afford, i.e., do you have the budget for doing what you need to do? So it's important really that I don't think many people have actually looked at this promotional side. So segmentation, targeting, positioning, review the current promotional strategy, change your strategy if you need to. So what you can do is turn these off if you want to. And if I was wanting to turn off my budget for the entire quarter, then I'd just set all these to naught, and therefore you wouldn't be spending any money. I'd confirm that and then run the quarter, but I'm not going to do it for the moment. The other part I need to go into is the company pages and the history. Okay, so here we're actually going to go along to our quarterly reports and then our activities. And here it will tell you, it will tell you how much you're actually spending on market research, nothing on branding and pricing. You spent £10,400. So in terms of your overall turnover, you need to look at the sales figures, and then as a total of your promotions and your sales channels, your market research and resources, you're actually spending this quarter £35,396. Over time, it's kind of cost you as a whole for the company 196,021. This is the figure that we need to focus on now. 396. In history, we then have to look at our sales count and our turnover. Let's have a look at quarterly reports. Our sales for year 3, quarter 4 are 228,652. So as a percentage of sales, can you please work out how much your budget is for marketing? And if we then follow the 2 to 5% rule or the industry rule, I want you to go back and have a look at that. Is it in line with normal budgets versus turnover? Would you like to increase your marketing budget? Certainly, if you have too much sales, you might want to decrease your budget for quarter or switch off the marketing, or you may well ramp it up. Now, the difficulty with, it's not difficulty, but you do ramp up the marketing, for example, what is likely to happen is that your sales count and your sales orders are likely to go up. That has implications across the rest of the business. And that's why doing this simulation, not just from a purely marketing point of view, but a whole holistic point of view, is to get you to understand the impact of your decisions on the rest of the business. Because what happens in marketing doesn't in isolation, it has an impact further down the lines. You market, you gain some traction, you attract the right kind of customers, they buy from you. That has implications for production, which has implications for buying components and perhaps changing suppliers. And the whole distribution channel is affected, specifically when we talk about sales channels a bit later on. So the point of this really is to get you to understand that marketing does not exist in isolation. I used to think it did one day in the past 20 years or so, but it doesn't. Your decisions, your budget, your spend, how you communicate with your customers is really, really key. So we just need to make sure that you're doing the right thing. So I hope that has helped you to understand a little bit more about the promotional activity for SimVenture Evolution, and I wish you great success.